Right, we're going to start off in a front garden today, unusually. We've had a delivery of mulch. So this is just off a local arborist, free of charge. Obviously shredded some trees and needed to dispose. So I don't tend to buy. I mean, it's nice to get, you know, this the pretty bark mulch. Quite expensive. Could be between £6 and £10 a bag, whatever. Can be quite expensive to do a large area, so when you get it for free, it's the way to do it. So we'll talk about that in a minute. The benefits of mulching, especially this time of year, sort of late October now. We'll have a quick look around the front garden. Not everything, it's not a front garden tour. This is going to be a video about mulching, but I've already done a bit. I've done more or less one border in the back, and I've still got loads left. This is an interesting one. So the Phoenix Canariensis, which I got in a very small pot. It's just one of these little urn pots. Just thought that I'd put one either side of the front door and keep them as sort of bonsai, if you like. I didn't think they'd grow very big in a tiny little pot like this. So I mean, bearing in mind that nips in at the bottom, it's not even a foot across there, and it's probably, yeah, it might be a foot and a half deep, but the trunk is almost nearly as big as the opening, and the palm itself is looking rather good, considering it really, I don't hardly water it or anything. It's left out there year round, and that's done really well, that one. Trachycarpus over roof level now, or start the roof at least. Yeah, so everything in the front garden's done alright. We've had a Musa Bajou, which is flowered this year, and got some little bananas on that. We can see them. Washingtonia robusta, that's one that never gets protected, and it always seems to do quite well. Yeah, everything else is doing okay here. Got the Butia odorata, absolutely no protection. The ones in the back I do put a fleece bag over, but the stuff in the front I just leave it to itself. But it's quite open out the front here, but once the trees drop their leaves, it's just, you know, gets full sun, because the sun is so low in the sky over winter, and the drive is actually quite a slope to it. So from the top of the drive to the bottom is probably a good couple of foot deficit. So the cold air will sink down into the road, so we don't get any sort of frost pockets at the front, so that's quite good. The Agave Americana, this was full of pups all the way round in the grass here, so I dug all them up, but the actual main plant is getting quite large now, so it's well over 4 foot tall, and a similar spread on that. The red hot pokers always look good this time of year, and so does the variegated miscanthus. When it's flowering, it like little fireworks along with the Nephophia. Quite a nice little display for this time of year. And so earlier on in the year I got a Yucca rostrata from B&M, so this is where it went. So I've sort of had the 3 square beds in the front lawn, and so I've done a 4th here with a rostrata, so it's slightly raised. So that sort of fits in quite nicely with the spikies and the blue of the Brahea armata there. Right, so back to the mulching. So we've got a big old pile here. This is a big truckload. Like I say, I've done a lot already. We're going to go into the back garden now. We'll discuss the benefits of mulching. I will say that we had a bit of a cold night last night. We were supposed to get around about 4 degrees, and it actually got down to 3 degrees, so narrowly avoided a frost. I think if that did drop any lower, that would have been a frost situation. So what I do need to do, even though for the next week or so the temperature's going up a little bit, and even nighttime temperatures should be sort of upper single figures, I still need to move a lot of the succulents and cacti under cover, just to let them dry out a bit before the real cold sets in. Yeah, so even though it's sort of quite chilly this morning, I mean, this is, as I do this video, it's about 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's chilly, but the sun, you know, that's a pure blue sky. There's not a cloud to be seen. There's a bit of warmth in the sun, so that's warming up a little bit now and feeling quite nice. So back to the mulching. I've been using my trusty garden carts. This is one I got from Amazon, little cheap. I think it's around 50 or 60 quid mark. Brilliant. Had this for about 3 years now. Did do a video on it at the time of purchase. It's been left out, you know, year round for 3 years, still solid. Use that a lot, especially for sort of ferrying big potted plants about, and in this situation for mulching. So you can see I just pull that round the front, load it up, you know, right to the overflowing point, and then I just use one of these cheap snow shovels to apply the mulch. So literally just a shovel full on there, and just gently sort of shake it about if there's any sort of delicate plants. And again, this time of year, a lot of the sort of hostas and perennials will be dying down, so I mulch straight over the top of all them, leave the foliage on, don't bother cutting it back. That'll obviously any goodness from that will go back into the plants. But yeah, so it's just a matter of anything sort of a bit more delicate to maybe hand put the mulch around, like these hookers, stuff like that. So it can take a little while when you've got a lot of plants to sort of work the mulch around, but it's well worth doing. So for instance, here I've got a small queen palm, which is got a spear now opening, and yeah, I noticed over the summer that where I'd planted it in the early spring, that the soil where I'd been sort of constantly watering it, sort of the soil had sort of run away a bit, and a little bit of roots exposed, and that's the last thing you want in winter on a sort of tender palm or half hardy palm, let's say, to have any roots exposed. So that leads us on to the benefits of mulching, and this is why I do it this time of year, before the first frosts, even though, like I say, we missed one this morning, but you know, this time onwards you could expect a frost at any time. So mulching is basically, you do one job and it covers 5 jobs. So we sort of touched on the first one already. So what we're looking at here is, you know, even if you've got hardy plants, they'll still benefit from being mulched, just to protect the roots from the extreme cold. So it's still sort of back end of, I won't say summer, but you know, we're mid-autumn. The ground's still got a little bit of warmth in it, so let's lock that warmth in. Keep the plants happier, the roots happier with that layer of mulch. So you're protecting your more tender plants, and also protecting any sort of hardy plants as well. They'll all benefit from a bit of a mulch, and it depends what you use. I mean, you can just use literally anything, you know, compost, anything organic really, cut grass, wood chip, whatever. I like to use this wood chip. That is, we'll go on to the other benefits in a minute, but basically what I've done is to put on a good 4-inch layer. So what you do have to be careful of is not put it so deep around any trunks of trees and sort of woody stuff. You don't want to rot anything out, so I've kept a sort of a at less depth right around the trunk area, but still sort of mounded up thick around, so the roots are sort of insulated, again with this waggy here as well. So yeah, so the first benefit is you know, cold protection. If you get frost, that won't penetrate to the soil level, so that's good. So you're insulating all your roots. So if you have got anything that's tender, even, you know, even like a Musa Basjou, even if you don't. What's going on there? Some seagulls chasing each other about. Yeah, so like Musa Basjou, for instance, when you've got a situation where I can't be bothered to protect them, and the pseudostem dies to the ground, if you get, you know, below minus sort of 5. At least you're guaranteeing the roots will stay a bit warmer, and the chances are, if you've got any little pups around it, that'll protect them as well and give them a better chance. So yeah, so we're keeping the ground a bit warmer, insulating it from, you know, the frost penetrating into the soil. So that's benefit number 1. Benefit number 2, I mean, we're still getting a few weeds coming up here and there, so that's going to suppress the weeds. You're blocking the light out to the, you know, the small little weedy seedlings which are coming up, and you can suppress them as well. So again, a nice thick layer. I mean, I've put 4 inches on here. I've got absolutely tons of I'm going to have more than I need really of this mulch, so I'm going to put it on nice and thick. You could get away with, if you've got sort of this wood chip or you know, like proper landscape and bark, if you like. 2 inches is the sort of minimum, I'd say. I've put 4 inches on just because there's a lot of greenery sort of chopped up in this mulch as well, so I'd say it's 50% sort of greeny leaves and whatever, so that'll rot down faster. So that, you know, even though I put a 4-inch layer on, by the end of winter that'll only be about 2 inches, which leads us on to benefit number 3. So we've insulated the soil, we've suppressed the weeds. So yeah, any green matter that is in it in this situation, or eventually the wood itself, will rot down and obviously feed the soil. So that's another good benefit. So over time you're feeding your soil, added bonus. And again, come spring, summer next year, you've got that nice layer on there, so you're not going to get any weeds in the spring, and then that's going to help you reduce the amount of water you're going to need, because that's locking the water in the ground. So especially over winter, the mulch is on the ground, you tend to get a lot of rain in the winter in the UK, so that sort of seeps through, and come spring that moisture will be trapped in the soil. It's not going to evaporate from bare soil, and you know, that just helps you, or reduces the need for a lot of watering, or as much watering as if you had bare soil. Again, that dries out real quick with the mulch, that locks it in. And benefit number 5 obviously is, you know, it looks good. I mean, especially if you get, like I say, if you've got like the proper landscaping bark, that does look quite nice. This maybe not as pretty, but it still looks better than bare soil. So you've got that benefit of a uniform look along your borders, even when a lot of your plants are, or your perennials are dying down, and you've just got your evergreens. At least the soil, you're not seeing any soil, and you've just got a nice sort of textured ground level view. So yeah, 5 benefits to go. So let's run through them again quickly. We've got insulation. We've got, and he says as his mind goes blank. So we've insulated the soil, we've suppressed the weeds, we've locked in the moisture. It looks good. These are all really good benefits, and also for a short time it smells quite nice as well when you put it out when it's freshly cut wood. You get that nice aroma when you come in the back garden. So yeah, some places are a little bit tricky, so it takes a little while to, yeah, look at that, an old flower spike must have fell down in the winds from the cord lines. Yeah, so some places are a little bit tricky where you've got, you know, where it depends how deep your border is, and some of these borders, you know, maybe 5 or 6 foot deep, so it's a little bit awkward to get right at the back sometimes. So that's where the shovel comes in, where you can sort of get it between the plants and just sort of shake it out, and you get a nice even spread there. Big leaf rhododendron looking quite good. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the, well, I'll say rest of the day, rest of the morning. I'm going to do some more mulching. So what I've managed to do is all this side here, all the way down to the pond and the tree ferns there. So what we have got to do after that is the corner where the shed is, the sort of shaded corner there around the Phoenix canariensis and all the plants there. We've got the border coming down here, which all needs topping up, and the border continuing down there, and then the centre border. I won't be doing this just yet, just because I'm still enjoying all the impatience and all the colour there. So once we do get the first frost and that cuts all this foliage and flowers back, and especially with the elephant ears, that's when I'll do this centre bit. And I will say I topped this up beginning, well, when I'd done this border last year, I dug it out and put lots of horse manure and that sort of thing in, and topped up with mulch, and it has dropped down at least an inch, so I can really chuck a load of mulch on this and raise it up a good, probably a couple of inches over the edging, and over winter that's going to protect all these colocasia rhizomes, and a lot of these, I mean, you've more or less got sort of exposed little corms here where they've had a run and have started to grow. So a lot of these are exposed, so the chances are they wouldn't make it through winter unless they're covered. So again, first frost, all this foliage will come off. I mean, literally, you get a decent frost, that'll all just sort of melt and flop to the ground. At that point, I'll just mulch everything. I won't cut any of the foliage off, I'll just mulch over the top of it. And what that'll do is, again, any goodness from the leaves will go back into the corm rather than just cutting it off and losing it. And then we'll mulch everything on there. That'll be a job, like I say, after the first frost. But yeah, so I've got plenty to do there. I've still got to move a lot of stuff. I haven't actually moved any of my house plants out of the hothouse yet, so I need to sort out in there as well. So I've still got a bit of shuffling about to do. But again, I think for the next week or so, temperature's going up again. Shouldn't be too bad for the next couple of weeks. But, you know, as and when things become available, like, you know, just look on the local Facebook groups for, you know, people or arborists, or you know, your local tree surgeons, whatever. Just look out for them advertising, because what they will do is a lot of the time they'll have to pay to dispose of that stuff. So I'd rather, you know, finish a job and just drop it off on their way home as such, if you've got any local ones. And that'll quite often be, you know, on the day or day before, they'll say free mulch and you just need to get in there quick. So I got a full tipper load. That was quite a lot, so I've put a load on already. Like I say, all this border here, you know, right at the back here, that's all done. Nice 4-inch layer, and you know, I've got loads left, so I should have enough to do the back garden and the front garden as well. So that'll be a bonus. So that's something I do every year. Round about this time, I think last year I've done it a little bit later. But if you can get at the point before you get like some nasty frosts where the cold has really sort of penetrated the ground already, you're onto a winner, because that's just locking that heat in. I say heat, not heat as such, but you know, slightly warmer temperature than if you lose all the heat from that. You know, a couple of penetrating frosts, you know, sometimes that can freeze the soil level down to 1 inch if you get quite a nasty frost, or deep freeze, let's say. So let's just, what we're going to do is we'll leave it there. I can talk, but I'll just really be repeating myself. So loads of benefits from mulching. If you can get it for free, good on you. That's what I do every year. Yeah, a lot of people, I don't know, they seem to think it's a spring thing. Oh, you know, spring's coming, let's mulch, make the garden look nice, stop the weeds coming. But no, this is really the time of year you ought to be doing it. We're going to leave it there. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.